Welcome to 15 Minutes Health, your source for clear, evidence-based insights in nutrition, neuroscience, longevity, and everyday wellness. Each video delivers science you can trust, designed to help you build a stronger, healthier life, all in under 15 minutes. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss practical, science-backed tools that can improve your health for the rest of your life.
Today, we are going to talk about the science of skin health. And this isn't just about how you look. The thing is, the state of your skin is a direct, visible readout of your internal health. You can think of it as a dashboard for your biological age. It reflects everything from your hormones and stress levels to your cellular energy. So to really make a difference in skin health, we have to go deeper than just surface treatments and actually target the underlying biology. In this explainer, we're going to break down the key mechanisms of skin aging, from the hormonal effects of stress to the cellular damage caused by light. Then, we'll dive into the evidence-based tools and protocols you can use to protect and repair your skin from the inside out. By the end, you'll have a solid framework for building a personal protocol based on your own biology. All right, let's get into it. First, we're going to start with the skin's basic biological story. The two main ways that it ages. Then we'll get into that really powerful connection between your mind and your skin, looking at how psychological stress physically makes you age faster. We'll cover the single biggest external factor, light and oxidative damage, and the essential tools to fight it. From there, we'll switch from playing defense to offense, talking about how to actually rebuild the skin's structure. Then we'll zoom out to look at systemic drivers like hormones, before tying it all together into a clear, actionable protocol that you can start using. So, to get started, we need to ground this conversation in a simple biological fact, and it comes down to this number, 1%. After you turn 20, the total amount of collagen in your skin goes down by about 1% every single year. Now, this isn't something you notice overnight. It's a slow, steady process that's behind a lot of what we think of as skin aging. This sets the timeline we're all on, but as you're about to see, the speed of that decline is something we can definitely influence. And that brings us to the most important point, really the core idea of this whole explainer. It's this. What you see on the outside of your body is a direct reflection of what's happening on the inside. The health of your skin isn't some isolated thing. It's tied to your cellular metabolism, your hormones, your nervous system, your body's ability to handle inflammation, the whole shebang. So when we see things like wrinkles or changes in skin texture, what we're really seeing are the effects of these deep internal processes. Understanding that connection is the absolute key to building a strategy that actually works. So to begin, it's really important to understand that skin aging isn't just one single process. It actually follows two very different, though related paths. And telling them apart is crucial because it shows us where we can actually step in and make a difference. On one hand, you've got intrinsic aging. This is the natural, chronological process that's mostly set by your genes. It's that slow 1% a year collagen decline we talked about, and it leads to skin that's thinner, drier, with fine wrinkles. On the other hand, you have extrinsic aging, which is often just called photoaging. This is driven by stuff from the outside world, mostly chronic sun exposure, but also things like pollution. Extrinsic aging is what lays those more dramatic signs, the deep wrinkles, the dark spots, the loss of firmness, on top of the baseline intrinsic aging. And this right here, this distinction is our main target. We can't stop the clock on intrinsic aging, but we have a huge amount of control over the extrinsic factors, which are responsible for most of what people think of as aged skin. Okay, let's explore one of the most powerful drivers of aging, but one that often gets overlooked, the link between our psychological state and our physical biology. To really get this, we need to look at the specific chemical pathways that connect what's happening in our head to what's happening to our skin. So how does the feeling of being stressed or overwhelmed actually translate into physical signs of aging on your skin? Well, it's not some vague idea. It's a direct, measurable hormonal process with some pretty serious consequences. Let's break down exactly how that works. When you're under chronic stress, your body activates what's called the HPA axis, which leads to a constant release of cortisol and adrenaline. Now, in short bursts, these hormones are great, they're essential. But when they're always elevated, they start to do damage. In the skin, cortisol does two main things. First, it messes with the function of your fibroblasts. Those are the little factories in your skin that make collagen and elastin. Second, it cranks up the activity of enzymes that actively break down the collagen you already have. And on top of that, this whole hormonal environment messes with the creation of a key protein that keeps your skin barrier strong, leaving it dehydrated and way more vulnerable to damage from the outside. And this isn't just a theory. A clinical study gave us direct proof of this link. Researchers found that about a third, 33%, of women dealing with moderate chronic stress had a significant, measurable increase in fine lines and skin roughness compared to a group with only mild stress. This really shows that there's a direct relationship between your internal stress levels and how your skin looks on the outside. So, if chronic stress makes us age faster, what can we do? Well, the most important tools are behavioral, managing your stress through things like meditation, getting good sleep, and exercise. But we can also give our bodies some biochemical backup to help cushion the damage. A key way to do this is to boost our antioxidant defenses. Molecules like topical vitamin C, oral resveratrol, CoQ10, and NAC are all powerful antioxidants. They basically work by neutralizing the damaging free radicals that stress creates. For example, vitamin C is not only a great antioxidant, but it's also absolutely required for your body to even make collagen. These tools don't get rid of the stress itself, but they directly fight its damaging effects at the cellular level. We just covered a major internal enemy, stress. Now, let's switch our focus to the single biggest external factor in skin aging, constant exposure to light and the oxidative damage that it causes. To really get photoaging, you first need to understand its main weapon, reactive oxygen species, or ROS. You've probably heard of these as free radicals. When UV radiation from the sun hits your skin, it creates these super unstable molecules. The best way to think of them is like tiny, supercharged bullets bouncing around inside your cells. They just damage everything they hit, your DNA, the fats that make up your cell membranes, and of course, your collagen. This tiny, microscopic damage, added up over time, is the root cause of what we see as photoaging. So, what's the plan for defending against this? It's a layered strategy, and the order here really matters. The first, and honestly the most effective tool, is just plain old avoidance, staying in the shade during peak sun hours. That's your first line of defense, non-negotiable. The second layer is using broad-spectrum sunscreens every day, which act like a shield. But look, no sunscreen is perfect. That's where layers 3 and 4 come in. Topical antioxidants like vitamin C act as a safety net to clean up the free radicals that get through. And finally, systemic antioxidants from your diet, things like vitamin C and E, help strengthen your body's own defense systems from the inside out.
So far, we've been focused mostly on defense, fighting off stress and blocking UV damage. Now, we're going to switch gears and go on offense. We're going to talk about the science of actively rebuilding the skin's structure. This means we need to understand the key building blocks and the tools that can tell our body to make more of them. The main structural component of your skin is collagen. It's the most common protein you've got in there, and the best way to picture it is as the scaffolding of a building. It's this network of protein fibers that gives your skin its basic firmness and strength. When that scaffolding starts to break down, whether from age or sun damage, the whole structure begins to sag, and that's when wrinkles form. Now, working right alongside collagen are two other critical players. First, there's elastin. If collagen is the scaffolding, you can think of elastin as the rubber bands woven through it that let your skin stretch and then snap right back into place. The third key piece is a group of molecules called GAGs, and the most famous of these is hyaluronic acid. GAGs are basically your skin's natural moisturizers. They grab onto water and hold it, which is what gives skin that plump, hydrated look.
So if our goal is to rebuild this entire matrix, we need tools that can actually communicate with our skin cells and tell them to start making more of this stuff. We call these tools cell regulators. And as this quote from a major 2012 scientific review points out, the undisputed gold standard, the king of all cell regulators, is the vitamin A family, which includes things like retinol and prescription retinoids. Let's break down how these top cell regulators work. Vitamin A, or retinoids, they have this amazing two-part mechanism. They directly tell your cells to make new collagen, and at the same time, they tell them to make less of the enzyme that breaks collagen down. So they're building new stuff while protecting what you already have. Next up, you have polypeptides. These are just small chains of amino acids that can basically mimic your body's own signals to trick your cells into making more collagen. And finally, there's vitamin C again. We already talked about it as an antioxidant, but it's also an essential ingredient for the enzymes that produce the most important types of collagen in your skin. Without enough vitamin C, that whole process just doesn't work very well. Okay, we've gone deep on the cellular level and the external factors. Now let's zoom all the way out to the big picture and talk about the body's internal clock, our hormones. The natural decline in our key hormones as we age is a huge driver of changes in our skin's thickness, its hydration, and its overall health. This timeline really tells the story. In our 20s, our key hormones are at their peak. But once we hit our 30s, things start to gradually decline, like the hormone DHEA. That process speeds up in our 40s with big drops in sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone. By our 50s and beyond, that decline continues across the board. And this internal hormonal shift is directly responsible for many of the visible changes we see in our skin as we get older.
So, what is the direct impact of these hormones dropping? Well, the research is really clear. For instance, estrogen is known to help with collagen production and keeping the skin hydrated. So as estrogen levels go down, skin often gets thinner and drier. Studies have also shown that growth hormone can increase skin thickness and that DHEA can improve overall skin health in older folks. This just drives home a critical point. Skin health isn't just about the skin, it's directly tied to what's happening with our entire hormonal system.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here, from the biochemistry inside our cells to the big hormonal shifts in our bodies. So now, let's pull all of these ideas and tools together into one simple framework that you can use to build your own personal, science-backed protocol for skin health. Here is a logical, step-by-step framework, and the order here really matters. Step 1, the absolute foundation that you cannot skip, is to mitigate external damage. That means making daily sun protection your top priority. This one thing will have the single biggest impact on preventing extrinsic aging. Step 2 is to manage your internal stress, using both behavioral tools to lower stress and antioxidants to buffer the damage from cortisol. Step 3 is to actively rebuild the matrix. Once your defenses are solid, you can bring in powerful cell regulators like retinoids and vitamin C to build new collagen. And finally, Step 4 is to support the whole system from the inside by making sure your nutrition is packed with the antioxidants and vitamins your body needs to do its job.
So, we've laid out the science, the why behind how your skin ages, and the tools that can target those specific reasons. The most important thing now is to take this information and actually apply it. This is not about finding one magic product. It's about understanding your own biology, your lifestyle, and your environment. Now that you understand why these tools work, you have the power to experiment, to see what works for you, and to build
Thanks
a
for watching
consistent,
15
personalized
Minutes
protocol.
Health. If this
True
video helped you,
optimization always
consider
starts with
subscribing.
understanding the system you're
Your
working
support
with.
allows us to keep creating clear, science-backed content to help you stay healthier, stronger, and better informed. See you in the next video.